My name is Dr. Marie Jureit-Beamish. I'm Professor Emerita at Principia College. I founded this series about 6 years ago because where I taught for over 40 years, we had a weekly concert like this featuring the students and members of the community, and it's a dream to bring it to this community, and so that's how it got started in this beautiful space with all this wonderful art, ever-changing and ever-changing performers. Some of the performers who are performing today are veterans. As a matter of fact, Ava sitting here was in the first year of the concert. She has been in every single year, multiple times performing in this space. So it is incredible. I'm sure it's not her last time either. There's going to be many, many more of Ava performing here in this space. So it is wonderful that we have such an active Treasure Coast Youth Symphony that brings together the young people from not just Martin County, but far and wide, and to have this opportunity to express themselves in a group in orchestral repertoire. One of the conductors and the main guy I have contact with is Tom Servinsky, and he's going to say a few words about the orchestra, and I have to say a couple of words about him because he won't say it. He is a founding member of the Atlanta Classical Orchestra. He was supposed to retire at the end of this season, but he's already been roped into next season. So retirement only is retread. That means you look at things differently, but otherwise things don't change.
That's right.
Welcome to my world.
Thank you.
Okay.
The hardest working retired person that I know of. Marie was nice enough to include me into working at her school at Principia in Illinois, and I wondered what it was going to be like when she retired, and I thought, oh, she's going to be wandering the streets, and it has been anything but that. She has been a big force for the entire arts community in this area, and Marie, I can't thank you enough. She has not only inspired this whole series, but she's acted as mentor to a lot of our youth symphony students for advanced learning, for chamber work and just music theory, music appreciation, all the other things that normally we would have the kids get in once they get into college. But she's getting them a good head start, and it's been nice to have this relationship with us. So Treasure Coast Youth Symphony, we just finished our 33rd year. And this started from a very small grassroots orchestra. It was a string orchestra. They did one concert a year. And then eventually there was 2 concerts a year, and then I came on board around 2002, so 20 years for me, and each year we've tried out the game. We're trying to basically prep these students so that if they are going to go into music, that we give them a rock solid foundation for the next levels. And it's really a lot of fun for us because we get the phone calls back. Shane and Megan are here, and they're kicking it at Lynn. And they can attest to that, but it's always fun when we get the feedback from the students, because when they're in our program, a lot of times I do push them quite a bit through the repertoire that we use to the level that we're trying to get them at, and sometimes I get the eyes rolling back like, really? We really need to do that? And then by the end of the year they say, thank you, that was perfect. And I'll have to tell you a little anecdotal story. We had a French horn student, this is maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and she was one of these students that decent player. And at that year, we were doing Scheherazade. Yeah, I think we were doing Scheherazade and some big pieces, big French horn parts. And I got a lot of pushback from her. Her mother didn't like it. This is not fair to her. She's staying up at night, blah, blah, blah. I said, what is she doing tonight? She's practicing. I said, well, that's good. So anyhow, the funny part is this young lady gets accepted to Interlochen at the famous music camp in Michigan. And I thought, oh, she's not going to have a chance at this with all these really accredited horn players who were going to show up. I get a phone call at 10 p.m. that night of the audition at Interlochen. Mr. Servinsky, you won't believe this. I got first chair. The first piece on the audition, Scheherazade. And the second piece, I think we had done for the Pavane for a Dead Princess. Anyhow, I knew these pieces inside and out. I killed it. And anyhow, she said, thank you. But anyhow, that's what we try to do with the students. We're trying to give them a good foundation. To really show them a real good love of music, what it's really all about, how this propels them in life, how it teaches them so many life lessons. It's not just music. It's working together, it's learning to be cordial to each other and to work as a group, and then try to constantly break that ceiling where they're at. I think you are in for a real treat tonight. This group that we had this year, and I say this every year, it's the best group we've had. This year was special, and it's because with COVID, I think it really affected everyone's well-being, mentally especially. People were trapped in, they weren't sure of things, and I think for us, it was proof that we can do this through this tough time, and we did it. And the kids really worked well together. And if you had a chance to go to any of our concerts this year, it was a real treat. So without any further ado, let the show go on.
Thank you, Tom. So here we go with the program, and you'll see 3 very unusual combinations of instruments right up front. You'll see a concerto for 2 violas, then a duet for 2 cellos, and then a solo piece for viola. We're giving the unsung heroes of the orchestra a chance to shine first. Also, coincidentally, the concerto for 2 cellos is by Georg Telemann, who is one of the great composers of the Baroque period. So let's now welcome to the stage our 2 featured violists. We have Quincy Train, and we have Andrea Martin viola. Next we have 2 cellos performing a duet by Dmitry Shostakovich. And we all know what's happening with Russia and the rest of the world these days. And if you ever have a chance, read the book that Shostakovich wrote called Testimony. He survived this censorship and so on in Russia. It was a very, very difficult life for him. And if you read his book, Testimony, it'll certainly shed light on what we are learning right now so much in the news as we pray for the people of Ukraine and also for the people of Russia and for all of us. So Dmitry Shostakovich, duet for 2 cellos, and this is accompanied by Ryan Aguilar and is performed by the 2 cellists, Kim Savage and R.P. Franklin. So now we have a viola solo. It's an elegy, and wouldn't it be appropriate, again, for the people of Ukraine and all of the people of Russia who have died with this unnecessary war? An elegy is a piece that is written to pay tribute to those who have passed on. So Andrea is going to play this for a solo viola, and what a voice it is when you hear that deep sound of the viola with this piece. I need to check the live stream, so excuse me, see what's going on here.
I'm just trying to make it something. That's fine. All the way back to my corner.
Sorry for our interruption due to technical difficulties. It gave us a little mini intermission. So now we will have part 2 of the live stream. And the next performer is Isaac Roman. And I wanted to point out that a number of these students have had extensive lessons with teachers, and some have had no lessons with teachers, and that's the case of Isaac. That's how come the youth orchestra and the school music programs are extremely important in supporting these young people in their growth and their talent and ability. So you're going to hear something really extraordinary, the Horn Concerto in E-flat by the great German composer Richard Strauss, not the Viennese waltz Strausses, but the great Richard Strauss, who wrote symphonic poems and operas and so on, and he loved to feature the brass instruments. So Isaac is going to play for you now the first movement of the Concerto in E-flat by Strauss.
Florida State University.
So he is headed off to Florida State University, and I think he's going to be doing a major in music education, right? So is that going to be something? That's a real tribute to the group organizations that he's grown up in. So thank you, Tom, for making it possible for him as well. So the next performer is, in fact, Ava Gunter, and she is the concertmaster, outgoing concertmaster of the Treasure Coast Youth Symphony, and she was dedicated to put this program together. So we're very thankful that Ava has assembled this program for all of us to enjoy today, and she certainly experienced it doing it. She is going to play the slow movement adagio of the great Bruch Violin Concerto in G minor, and this absolutely heavenly, prayerful piece is one of the most beautiful slow movements in all of the violin repertoire, for me anyway. So I'm so grateful that she's working on this, and will share it with you now. April will be headed to the University of Florida in Gainesville, and she is going to be a double major in music, performance, as well as business, and hopes to form her own music school. Wow. So, but today she received a scholarship from the Treasure Coast Music Teachers Association. She doesn't know it. She now knows it. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay. We have a lot of very expressive pieces on today's program. One of the most expressive ones for cello we're about to hear now, and this is from the Carnival of the Animals by Camille Saint-Saëns, a 19th century composer, and this is the famous The Swan. Savage. Like the Swan, the theme from Schindler's List takes little to no introduction. How many of you were at Itzhak Perlman's concert at the Kravis Center a couple months ago? Okay, then I will share a story. Itzhak Perlman is the violinist that we all know and identify with the theme from Schindler's List. The concert was advertised as another of his violin and piano concerts. I went there expecting to hear him play his old favorites and all of that, but what it turned out to be was a life perspective on Itzhak Perlman. It was one of the most extraordinary experiences I've been to. It was really incredible. But a little story about this particular, why he was selected. John Williams has collaborated with Spielberg for over 40 years, and they have offices right next to each other, just about. And they think on the same wavelength. He comes up with the idea, Spielberg comes up with the idea, he goes out, has coffee with John Williams, comes back with it, and it transforms whatever the film is, transforms it into something even grander than what he had been originally conceived. Well, John Williams, when he thought of the music for Schindler's List, he thought of asking Itzhak Perlman to play the solo that he heard in his ear. Itzhak Perlman said, "Thank you for asking me, I'll think about it." He went home and he asked himself, "What do you mean I'm going to go home and think about it?" So he immediately called him back and he said, "Of course I will do this because of the theme of the topic of Schindler's List." So at this event at Kravis Theater, we get to the point in his life when he's about to perform the theme for John Williams' music. And he says to the audience, and Itzhak Perlman has a tremendous sense of humor. Any of you who've seen him on TV shows and all, you know he has a tremendous sense of humor. So he said, I know that you've all come to hear me play this, and I know you know it all so well, so I'm not going to play it tonight. And he says, just kidding. But, you know, it's like he can't go anywhere without playing Schindler's List. It's like Rachmaninoff trying to get off the stage without playing the great C-sharp minor prelude. So in any case, it was divine. It was heavenly, as it always is, and he brings such passion to the piece, and that music really tells the whole story of Schindler's List. So now, with all that pressure, I'm going to tell the story of Schindler's List with the theme. I forget that the people on live stream don't have a program. This is Lincoln Buchanan. Some of you maybe have visited some of the concentration camps in Poland. I did that many years ago, and it's one of those experiences I only have to do once. I'll never forget it. It is chilling. And if you go to the camps and you you can feel recreating in your mind what should never, ever happen again. And it's happening again right now. It is so tragic to see and to have experienced what I saw, and those camps are preserved so we can learn that we should never, ever do that again. So what are the Polish people doing? They are now, as you know, taking in the Ukrainian refugees. The Polish spirit is unbelievable in what they are doing, because they understand what's happening in Ukraine. The next piece on the program kind of brings together Schindler's List with the concentration camps, and it brings together what's happening right now in our world with the music by Henryk Wieniawski, a Polish composer. So now, instead of having an elegy type piece or an expressive piece, we're going to have more exuberance. And this is now going to be performed by this year's winner of the concerto competition of the Treasure Coast Youth Symphony. Zahava Usula is going to be performing the first movement of Wieniawski Concerto No. 2. So now we are nearing the end of the program, and we have two quartets. And the first quartet is a movement from Eine kleine Nachtmusik by Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. I almost said by Amadeus. And the reason I said that is because my husband just finished watching the movie Amadeus. And in that, Salieri is depicted as this woefully uninspired, untalented composer who aspires to be like Mozart, but knows that it's hopeless. He'll never have a chance to be anything like Mozart. And so at the beginning of the film, there's this famous scene where the Salieri in his old age, and he's just attempted to cut his throat. Well, he did cut his throat, but he attempted to commit suicide. But he is sitting in a large wheelchair, and he has a keyboard in front of him, and there's a priest there. And he talks about, I'm the most wonderful, well-known composer of the time, and don't you know who I am? No, I don't. And so he plays a little tune. He says, do you remember that? He says, no. And then he does another one. And what is it? Eine kleine Nachtmusik. Oh, I know that. Did you write that? No, Mozart did. So, Eine kleine Nachtmusik, the first movement, the quartet, and this is the Treasure Coast Youth Symphony, and the performers are Ava Gunter on first violin, Lyndon Buchanan on second violin, Andrea Martin, viola, and Kim Savage on cello. So this is a first movement. So there is going to be a slight changing of the guard while we prepare for the last quartet. And I'm going to put on a different hat right now. I'm chairman of the board of the Arts Foundation of Martin County. And this is my opportunity to say to you, thank you for being here today. Thank you for supporting these wonderful young people and all of the programs that we do here. It is unbelievable the amount that happens in this one little cultural hub of our area. You can show your appreciation in different ways. For example, let's see, money is appreciation. Now let's see, how much is this concert to you? Is it worth a latte? Is it worth $4? Is it worth a dinner out? Maybe $25? Show your appreciation, in other words. Equate it to something that you do every day and say, I can support that, and that will make all the difference in the world for us to help support these young people. As you know, we have the Marty's Awards every year where we recognize outstanding talent of the Treasure Coast, whether it be young people or artists of all ages from all mediums. So show your appreciation, and we will greatly appreciate how much you appreciate us. So thank you for being here today. The last piece on the program is a quartet by Alexander Borodin, and the changing of the guard is, who's changed here? Oh, just one. Okay, one changing of the guard. We have RP. Thank you all for being here. Aren't they incredible? Yes.